Hello, welcome back to the Epic Film Challenge 2. This is episode 5 and we're going back to the 1920s for this episode, and I'll be talking about the film Dr. Mabuse the Gambler, or in German, which is where the film was made in Germany, Dr. Mabuse der Spieler. This is an epic crime film that is very long and there's a lot to it, and I'm not going to kind of cover everything but kind of just do it in broad strokes for you. But it's a fantastic film by the legendary Fritz Lang, known for films like Metropolis and other films that will appear in this series. And this is a film from 1922, and it is about this guy right here, Dr. Mabuse, played by Rudolf Klein-Rogge, who is a fantastic actor, was a fantastic actor. You can also see him in Metropolis as the kind of mad scientist character. He's in quite a few of Fritz Lang's earlier silent films. And yeah, he's fantastic in the role of Dr. Mabuse. Now, Dr. Mabuse, the gambler, he does gamble, he does go to places and plays poker and things like that, but really, he enjoys gambling with people's souls. Not in the literal sense, but gambling with their lives, I should say. He likes to manipulate people through his hypnotism. He is a known kind of hypnotist, but he has a secret kind of underground part to him that no one really knows about. And he's a master of disguise as well. And the film opens with him in his study with his servant, and he's shuffling through a deck of cards. And on all of those cards is a picture of him in one of his different disguises. He's literally just shuffling through them and finding a disguise at random to pick, who am I going to be today? And you get the kind of mindset of him from the get-go. And every card that you see, you eventually see him later on in the film in that guise, dressed up as someone else. And he kind of runs an underground kind of crime ring. There's a money counterfeiting going on. There's all sorts of things going on, and he's kind of the head honcho of the whole kind of deal. And it's set in Berlin as well. And I just love the way the film looks. There's some great sets of these dark streets and these murky alleys and stuff like that. And then you get to like the institutions where they play poker and stuff like that, and the gambling. And then maybe like dirtier kind of side rooms where they play a bit more low-key games of poker, things like that. There's lots of different locations in the film, grander locations. There's a character in the film, Count Told, who has a big mansion, and you see that a lot in the film, and he's played by Alfred Abel, who was in Metropolis also. He plays kind of the father of the city in Metropolis. He's another great actor who's fantastic in this. It's worth noting the film is 270 minutes long. It's it's 4.5 hours long. It's a very long film, but it's split into two parts. Part 1 is The Great Gambler, an image of the age, and part 2 is called Inferno, a game for the people of our age. I remember looking into it at the time I originally watched this, what those titles meant, but really it's almost like a TV series before TV was even invented, a serial. I'm not sure when the serial was invented, but either way, the whole film, both the films are split into acts. And so they're almost episodes, it's like an episodic kind of look at this this crime empire that Dr. Mabuse has created. And we have an Inspector von Wenck who is kind of tracking this Mabuse. He doesn't know that it's Mabuse, but he knows that there's someone who's behind a lot of the bad stuff that's going on. There's a great scene at the beginning where some of Mabuse's men capture this envelope, which has details in it about the stock market and things like that, and he uses that to his advantage. And he turns up to this this big stock exchange place, and he's dressed up and stuff in a different disguise. Everyone's going crazy because suddenly things are changing. They don't know what's going on, but he has the inside scoop, and so he puts his money in. He gets the most out of it, and he's just stood there while everyone's just going crazy. And it's a great, manic, frenetic scene that looks fantastic, and you really get the sense that, at least later on when you find out, when he actually says to someone that he just enjoys gambling with people's lives, that he got more satisfaction out of the chaos that he had created rather than the money he was gaining, which is a really interesting character trait. He's fantastic in the film, really enjoy him, and you can also kind of look at it as is he really just a hypnotist? Is he really just a master of suggestion and illusion, or does he have psychic powers? You don't know. And there's just some great scenes, some great shots. My only problem with this film is the length, and also no known score is available for the film. It was what a score was created once the re-release happened and once, you know, the restoration took place. So it's kind of a score that was written in modern times, and I like it, but it's very repetitive. And when you've got an almost 5-hour long film, it doesn't do too much different at times. And there's bits I like, but oftentimes though I wouldn't even notice the score. It's just kind of background noise, and I would just enjoy the images on the screen. But you know, being a silent film, but there are some you know, silent films that have fantastic scores that really add to the film. This one just kind of went along with it. It didn't elevate it too much. But yeah, the film itself is just absolutely fantastic. One thing that does really slow the film down though is that with it being a silent film and it being such a long film about so many different things going on, a lot of the times information is given to us through like notes, letters, close-ups of newspapers and things like that, and the shots just hold on the text for so long, maybe only about 30 or 40 seconds, but that in this day and age feels really long. That kind of takes up a big chunk, I think. Well, maybe not a big chunk, but a sizable chunk of the film, where it's just like lots of information. You can probably read it like 3 times over before the shot ends, and that can be a little bit tiresome sometimes. And one of the other things I really love about the film is that you wouldn't expect a crime film necessarily to have a lot of special effects, but this one has lots of weird different special effects for different reasons. I won't go into it. I'm sure most of you won't even watch this film ever, but in case you do, I won't spoil it. But well, there is one scene where Count Told is in his manor, he's depressed, and he's been kind of committed there by Mabuse. He says to stay in the house, don't speak to anyone, and he starts going mad, and he has these hallucinations of these ghosts of himself, basically. So he's sat at his dining table, and there's like 7 versions of himself, and it's like a ridiculously like complicated shot for a film in the 20s. Not, you know, it's not perfect. You can see some of the seams around the edges, but it's just a really impressive and ambitious shot. And yeah, the special effects I really liked. So, in conclusion, is this a film you must see before you die? I'm going to say no. Now, you might be wondering why I say that, because I just said how much I loved it. But for me, it's a film that's 4.5 hours long. It could be trimmed, it could be cut, and it would probably make a much better film for that. But I do enjoy the way that it kind of stretches out, and you know, the way it all kind of, the slow burn, all the things that happen. But for me, it's not really a film you should see before you die. I think you could do without it, which again sounds like I really didn't like it, but I love the film. But I think there's a lot of other films, particularly by Fritz Lang as well, from the 20s that were much better and probably should have been in the book. One in particular is Die Nibelungen, which is around the same length, but it's a fantasy epic. The length seems to suit that kind of film, whereas this, I just feel it could be a lot tighter. But at the same time, I enjoy that kind of film, but I'm going to say it's not really a film you must see before you die. So a bit of a mixed review there, but I did really love the film. But it's not quite, I give it like a 4 stars out of 5, I'd say, something like that, maybe 8 out of 10, but not a full, it's not a full masterpiece, I don't think. Still loved it though. Also loved the ending where Mabuse meets the climax with Mabuse at the end is really good as well, more special effects and just really visual, and a great end to the film. Anyway, that's it for Dr. Mabuse the Gambler. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you with the next one.